Welcome to the Real Estate Edits GCI calculator. In this video tutorial, I'm going to be walking you through everything that you need in order to set your gross commission income. We're going to walk through what that is. I'm going to share the spreadsheet and how to utilize this spreadsheet and help you figure out what sort of activities you need to be doing in order to reach your income goals. The first thing that we want to do before we get started is we want to make sure that you are making your own copy of this so that you have an editable version of the spreadsheet. So what you're going to want to do is go to File and you're going to make a copy. A pop-up is going to show up like this. You want to save it however you want to save it and then save it to whatever folder and click make a copy, and that's going to open up a new copy for you to edit. The first page here you can go through. We would love it if you checked out some of our other links, if you joined our free communities and you connected with us. That would be amazing. But for right now, what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the second tab, which is the GCI calculator. So what is GCI? GCI, if you're not sure, means gross commission income. So that basically is what you want to bring in for the year. What is your goal as far as bringing in money for the year? How we're going to calculate this is we're going to plug in numbers on this spreadsheet. I've already done all of the calculations for you. You just have to put your own numbers in and it's going to auto-populate your results. So let's dive in and see what our gross commission income is going to be. So the first thing is just note that you only need to change the yellow boxes with your information. If you change anything else, chances are you're going to accidentally change the math portion of it and it's not going to auto-populate for you. So make sure that you're only updating the yellow boxes. Those are the ones that you want to make sure that you are filling out. So let's talk about our income goal. The first part is your net income goal per year. Now, this is the amount of money you want to bring in each year. Just note, we are not calculating our business expenses in this spreadsheet. That would be a much more extensive spreadsheet. We are just really breaking down how much money we need to bring in order to about reach our income goal. So what we're going to do is put in your number, your income goal, whatever that may be, whether it be 50,000, 100,000, a million. We're going to start with 200,000. From there, we're going to figure out what our split is after the brokerage takes it. Now, you may be at 100% brokerage, or you may be on a team where it's 50-50. Whatever that percentage is that you get is what you want to put in here. So I'm going to put in 70%. Now, immediately what that does is it comes up with my gross commission income. It basically is telling me that if I want to bring home $200,000 a year and I know that my brokerage takes 30% of that, that I need to make $285,000 in order to net that 200. So now we're going to talk a little bit about, okay, how many closings does that equate to? So the first part is your average sales price. This is going to vary wildly depending on what area you are in, but I'm going to go ahead and just put in 350,000. Now, if you are a seasoned, experienced agent, you may want to look back at your past sales over the, say, 12 months and find that median or average number and use that as your average sales price. If you are a new agent and you don't have a bunch of closings under your belt, then you can go ahead and look up your MLS data and put in the average sales price for your market. From here, we're going to look at what our average commission is. And again, this can vary wildly depending on your business model and where you are at, but I'm going to go ahead and put in 3%. Now what this does for me right now is it's going to calculate that and tell me that my average commission is going to be about 10,500. And then in order to reach this number up here, I need to have 20 closings per year, or that could be 2 closings per month. Now, one thing to note when you're going through this calculator is that we did round numbers up. It doesn't really make sense to have 1.5 closings a month. So we went ahead and we would round that up to 2 closings per month. We figured that it is much better for you to go above and beyond what your goal is, as opposed to go on the lower side and then you fall short when it comes to your net income goals. So some of these numbers will be rounded up to the nearest whole number. So now that we know all of that, we know that we need 2 closings per month, which doesn't sound too scary. We're going to break this down even further. And we're actually going to talk about, okay, what activities do I need to be doing in order to bring in my 2 closings per month so that I can make $200,000 per year. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk about what the percentage of buyers versus sellers are that I work with. Now, this can vary depending on if you are a buyer's agent, maybe you are a listing agent, maybe you are a combination. If you are not sure, if you are a newer agent and you don't have a lot of clients under your belt, you may want to do 60-40, where you have 60% buyers, 40% sellers, or you may want to do 50-50. However you want to do it is totally up to you. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and just do 60-40. And what that is going to do is it's going to calculate and tell me that out of my 20 closings, I need to have 12 buyers and 8 sellers. So we know that not all buyer and seller clients close. So we want to talk about what our average of buyers and sellers close. And that's going to be our next section. On average, you could say maybe 85% of your listings close. Maybe it's closer to 90%. Almost all of your sellers end up selling their house. And then maybe only a certain percentage of your buyers actually close, get to the contract table. So we're going to go ahead and we're just going to put in 70% for that, because we know that not all clients turn into closings. With those numbers, what that does is it tells me that, again, I need to make these 20 closings per year. So based on this percentage, I'm going to need to have 18 buyer contracts and 9 seller contracts, which equates to 2 buyers per month and 1 seller per month. Then we want to go down, and again, we're just kind of working backwards, right? We started at the very end of our goal, which is basically, I want to make this much money. And now we're just deconstructing it and going backwards with these numbers. So if we know that we need to get 2 buyer contracts and 1 seller contract, we actually have to have listing appointments. We have to meet with potential clients. We have to meet with leads in order to get these contracts in place. So in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to be going on appointments. Now, maybe this is a coffee shop appointment, maybe it's a listing appointment, whatever that looks like for you. We need to figure out how many of your buyer and seller appointments do you actually close? And this should actually be a pretty high conversion, because in most cases, if you are meeting them for coffee and you are going over the buyer's journey, if you are meeting them at their home to give them a home valuation, whatever that looks like for you, then there's a really good chance you're going to close the deal. But it's not always 100%. So let's go ahead and plug in these numbers here. And let's just say that 80% of the buyer agreements that buyer appointments that I go on actually end up being my client. Then we know as far as sellers go, we're going to say that I close about, let's stick with the 80%. And now we're going to see how many appointments that means we need to go on per year. So for the entire year, in order to reach our goal, we need to be going on 23 buyer appointments and 12 seller appointments. How many appointments per month is that? That's 2 buyer and 1 seller. So once you break these numbers down, it makes it really easy for you to calculate what sort of activities you need to be focusing on. Now, if I go all the way back up here and I take a look at the $200,000, that looks really daunting. And you're like, how am I going to make this happen? What do I have to do in order to make that kind of money? What we've done is we've, again, deconstructed it and made it a little bit more palatable so that you know what you need to do, what you need to focus on every single month. That is not even 1 appointment per week that you have to do in order to reach your goal. So go on. Plug in your own numbers. Can't wait to see what you come up with. Hopefully you found this tool super helpful and valuable and just really jump-starting your income goals. We know that it can be really difficult to visualize what it is you need to be doing in order to reach those money numbers that everybody talks about. So this is just a little way for you to get started on that. All right. Happy calculating.